in theory, that should be okay, SkySight. Right. Welcome, everybody. Everybody knows me. I don't need to introduce myself, do I? Do I? Right, okay, good. Quick check, if I may. I did a thing on weather and decision making. I think it was the start of this year, wasn't it? Was that right? Did anybody come to that? Yes, no? Yeah, so there's a few people that weren't at that. Okay, good. Because what I talked through in that was my normal decision-making process for working out whether I could go flying and where I was going to go flying, and trying to optimize my flying time and trying to avoid divorce. What I've done in this one is I've taken that decision-making process, in other words, my normal sources of information, and I've transposed them across into how we can learn the same things from SkySight. The background to this is that each year in sort of May or June, I go to the UK Armed Forces Development Championships over in Crickhowell in Wales. For the last 5 years or so, I do the Met. For about the last 2 years, Ali Andrews, who's typically the meet director, has been using SkySight. I've been using my traditional sources, and then this year, having dived much deeper into SkySight while we were at the championships, I realised I really needed to update myself, and we spent a lot of time comparing the picture that SkySight was telling us to the picture that we were getting from my sort of traditional sources. And I thought, I really need to get myself up to speed here. It's clearly an incredible tool. And I've promised myself that by the time next year comes around and I do the Met for next year's championships, I'll be doing it entirely off SkySight. So I've spent about probably 2 or 3 weeks going relatively deep on it, and we'll see if we can have a bit of a rummage through. What are we going to cover? So, don't need to introduce myself. I'll talk about caveats. I'm going to very, very quickly skim through the way that I normally use traditional sources for weather. It's probably only going to take us 2 minutes, just so that you can see the structure that I tend to look at. And then what I'm going to do is, for each of those, go and find the equivalent in SkySight. Now, SkySight also has 3 or 4 key features that I just have never used before, and they're very, very good. I should probably add at this point, I'm going to praise the hell out of SkySight. It's very, very, very good. I don't have shares in the company, and I probably should have, because it's that good. And then we'll take questions as we go. Has anybody used it before?
Yeah.
Yes? How long have you been using it? What do you think of it? Is it good?
Well, briefly, usually Neil Russell is using that and just posting the screenshots on a Telegram. So I thought, I'll start using that myself. So
Yeah, cool.
I had checked it out a few times.
Is anybody using it as their main source of weather information? Because I'm not quite there yet. I'm hoping to be relatively soon. But anybody using it as their main decision-making tool? Okay, good. So we're in quite a good position of kind of all learning it together, yeah? Cool. Caveats. So I thought, right, I started my last presentation with a picture of me flying. So I went to my friend, the AI, and said, please create a picture of an old paraglider pilot which encapsulates the way I feel about this season's flying. And that's what it came up with. and for
It's like Ken Wilkinson.
well, I thought that actually. I did think that. And for the prompt, I put with English countryside in the background, and it looks shockingly like the view from Westbury. Actually, I didn't tell it Westbury. Yeah. So let's talk about some. Let's talk about some caveats here. I'm not a meteorologist. I'm not even a particularly good paraglider pilot. Yes, I'm an ex-military aviator. Yes, I've had various proper pilot's licenses. But I absolutely do not think that makes me a god at paragliding. I'm very mediocre, very enthusiastic, but mediocre. and I absolutely do not know it all. I make lots of mistakes, and one of my pleasures in paragliding is that I'm constantly learning. It's almost certainly the case that there's somebody in the room who is a better pilot or a better meteorologist than me, so I am in no way setting myself up as being above anybody else, which means if you see any mistakes in what I'm seeing, if I'm missing something, or if you know something that I don't, please shout out. And my promise to you is to not get grumpy about that. So please interrupt. Is that okay? The other big caveat here is that I've never used SkySight in anger. I've never used it as my main source of paragliding weather decision making. Like I mentioned before, I've used it a little bit this summer. Last few weeks I've started to try to understand it a lot more, and I'm still learning it. One of the reasons I didn't want to stream this session is that I don't feel qualified to stand here and talk to you as an expert about SkySight. If we were talking about parachute systems, yes, I'd happily do that, because I actually, unlike in many areas of my life, I do actually know what I'm talking about there. So I hope that's okay. Let's make it a conversation rather than a one-way transmission. Right, so let's crack on to my traditional sources of weather information here. Typically what I would do, and this is for me, this is just personally for me, and I mention these just so that we can sort of set the scene. I'll look at XC weather on a day-by-day basis, see if I think it's going to be flyable on a particular day. Then I'll check the jet stream to make sure that the jet stream isn't directly overhead. Then I'll go and have a look at the surface pressure forecast, look at the rainfall. If I think it's going to be thermic, or if I'm trying to go cross country, I'll look at the town and city forecasts. Then I'll typically look at the sounding as well in windy. If I'm soaring, I look at the sounding in windy so that I can see, if I think I'm going to be soaring, what's the wind going to be at the height of takeoff? What's the wind going to be 1,000, 2,000 feet above takeoff, to make sure that I'm not going to be into any big wind shear. You don't need to take notes because I'll share the presentation afterwards. Yeah. Then sometimes I use Tufts and METARs, and then the real-time weather station up at Westbury as well. So let's quickly have a look at those if I can. Is it going to work? So there's XC weather. I just scroll through and see what's coming up. Jet stream forecast, I think we've all seen. Any questions on that one? Anybody else use it? Oh, it's brilliant. It's really, really good. I'll share the links and everything with you. And basically, it's one of those areas of Met where you can geek out. So are we all comfortable with what the jet stream is? Yes? Anybody want me to explain? Yeah. So it's a big snake of high-speed air at somewhere near the tropopause, very high. You know, think in terms of, you've got the speed scale on the side here. So you've got like 70 knots up to 230-ish knots. And the way I usually encourage people to think about the tropopause, the jet stream is, so imagine that the jet stream is directly above you. If it's at the tropopause, how many miles or kilometres above you is it at Westbury in the summer? Anybody? Typical height at the tropopause? 36,000 feet, which is how many miles? About 7 miles, 10k. So imagine if you were standing on takeoff at Westbury and you look into the distance and you can see Trowbridge and Bradford and Avon, and if I said to you, right, I know for a fact that in Bradford and Avon the wind is 220 knots. Would you still go flying at Westbury? Yeah, so just because it's directly above you, it's like, hang on a minute, there's some really, really high speed wind relatively close to me. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to be flyable. I've flown underneath an 80-knot jet stream, but it was fine. But I just find it interesting to think of it in those terms, in three-dimensional terms. And some people will say, if you've got any bit of the jet stream above you or near where you're going to fly, then expect it to be, at the very least, uncomfortable. So I tend to do a cursory check on it.
Would something like windy put you... Why would you not just look at windy?
Hold that thought. Good question. Why would you not just look at windy? We'll answer that in a minute. The answer is you can. Typical surface pressure forecast. Hopefully everybody uses it, just to make sure I'm not going to get attacked by a front while I'm airborne or anything like that. And it's useful. I find it useful to get... it's probably because throughout my aviation career I've always used these and they just feel like home to me. And I find it useful to see on a large scale, what is the air mass, what's the overall wind direction going to be, and as you scroll through the animation, it's going to show you what the wind is likely to do throughout the window where you think you're going to fly. Any questions on that one? I would expect everybody to be pretty comfortable with it. Certainly anybody who's P-rated should be pretty comfortable with that. Now I tend to, and we're getting a wee bit closer now, I tend to use this one as well. So if it's not clearly going to be a blue day or a day where there's no precipitation, this one's really nice because you've got so many layers in here. You've got your wind speeds, your gusts, your precipitation. I tend to use this one mainly for a rainfall forecast because it's really good. And one of the fun things you can do with it, if you're a Met geek, is you can play with the scrolling forwards and backwards like that. And if you've got, sometimes when you've got like the center of a system, which is a bunch of occluded fronts spiraling up on itself, as you scroll through, you can see the rain bands associated with it. So it's nice to visualize. On to the thermic stuff and the sort of more related to cross country. Anybody else use these? The RASP Town and City?
All the time.
Again, this is one that I learnt from Ali Andrews. I learnt so much from him, and it's absolutely brilliant because it now starts to show you detail of the cross country weather. So on here we've got things like boundary layer top, thermal height, hydrocritical updraft, your LCL as well, your lifted convection condensation layer. That sounds like hail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you've got Q potential, temperature. Another interesting one is this here. One of the things I learnt this summer while we were in Wales is that people like Cass do weather completely differently from me, and given that he's flying all the time and I'm not, maybe I should start to learn from him. But he will basically say, right, is it going to rain on that day? No. Fine, I'll go to the hill. And he will then primarily be looking at the surface sun plot. So if he's looking to get high or go cross country, he'll look at the surface sun. And if there's not plenty of sun on the ground, he's just not going to bother. And he thinks that's really reliable. I hadn't ever heard that until July this year. It's very interesting. But again, it's in the town and city thing. I will share the links with this as well. You've got your pressure, so you can see if it's going to be one of those really nasty, terribly high pressure but dry ground furnace type thermal days that we have later in the summer, dust devils and all that. So this is a great image. There's loads and loads of information in here. Anybody not seen it before? That is really loud, isn't it? Wow. Do you think that would sound like applause on the, like a really appreciative audience on a recording? Then on to windy. I think everybody's familiar with windy, yes? The bit that I tend to use a lot is the sounding. And of course it's a forecast sounding, but it's got a couple of nice little things in there. I think you can even make this full screen. But what you can do is come all the way in here, and then quite apart from the thermic elements in here, so it's giving you your LCL, which is nice. The main reason I would go into this one is, so let's say for example I'm considering flying at Westbury, I'll come in here and say, right, that's now telling me what it predicts that the weather at that height at Westbury at that time is going to be, and if I gently squeak upwards to about there-ish, now I can see what the wind at 1,000 feet above takeoff is going to be. So if I decide it's going to be flyable, I can know whether or not I'm going to be launching into any potential really high wind gradient. hopefully does anybody already use this? Yeah, I covered this. Yeah, it's really useful. It has got a wee bit of a bug in the wind barbs. Sometimes it shows you the wrong thing, then you zoom it and it goes clunk and it starts to show the right ones. But the numerical values that it shows on there are always right. So I tend to use that mostly, that sounding in windy, mostly to give me a vertical picture of the wind speed. So just for safety. Also places like Mere, I like to know what's above me as well for safety. Hello.
Have you ever checked it and correlated it?
I have actually. Yeah, not sort of on an empirical sense. But for example, the last time I flew down at Mere, I went down there not expecting to fly, because this told me that it was going to be top-endy on launch, and it also told me that 1,000 feet above launch it was going to be really, really strong. And I went down there, and I don't take notes or anything, but I just sort of mentally, I just sort of compared it, and the wind that I experienced while I was airborne was exactly as this forecast. So I got up to about, I think, 500-600 feet above takeoff, and I was 0 ground speed. So it was really, really accurate, and it was a little bit sugary as well. So yeah.
Why specifically Mere?
Because of the topography there. Yeah, it's an easy place to get wrong. Yeah, good question. I've got a slide about that actually. Did you come to my decision making thing?
I think I did.
Yeah, I'll show you the slide. Yeah, you'll see them. Yeah. So that's windy. Hello.
Windy, what I normally do is compare the 6 different models.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I do that as well. So you can come in here, and if you go forecast for this location, and then do, where's the compare thing? There. And now you've got all the different models down there.
So weather and wind, you can do all of them, not much. It's just not that you can get all the weather predictions and wind speeds all overlaid. So what I look for is consistency between all the models. So I heard before, inconsistency between models. So I've got 6 models. I want to see how many solar being rained or it's being thrown out, and how much.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be lightning in a minute. Wow.
That might be a pretty
No, there is a compare.
There is a compare on here, I just can't remember where it is.
Yeah, I have a premium. There is a compare
Could
tab.
well be premium, but so for instance, we were flying at Westbury Mill Hill White Horse on Monday, and it was very top end. So I was sort of debating whether that's the one I've got, and you can compare it every hour as well. The premium.
Yeah.
I wanted to know what my probability of flying.
Nice.
So I wanted to see. Ra said it would be 11 or 12 knots, which is pretty top end. But in the 6 models, some said it would be 8 miles an hour
Right.
through to 12.
Yeah.
With
So it's a good
average of
sense
about
check.
10 miles an hour
Yeah.
at about 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Which on a hill like that is okay to fly in. Maybe not on some bigger hills or
Yeah.
in Wales, for instance.
So while we're thinking about that, is everybody completely comfortable with what we mean when we're talking about weather models? Do I need to explain this to anybody? Yeah, we're all happy with that. Because that's quite relevant in a moment when we start to talk about how SkySight works.
Is it? I've only ever used the app, but I never even thought of using the windy web.
Yeah, I tend to use the web-based one a lot more, probably because I work with computers all day and it's easy for me. But I find the user interface just that little bit easier to navigate. I think almost everything on the web one is available on the mobile one. It's just, or maybe I've just got fat fingers. I don't know. So that's windy. I tend to use that, and then if I'm going to go to the hill and I particularly want to check that it's actually as forecast. So very commonly with me, I'll try and go flying after work, and if the forecast said it's going to be on at 4 p.m. before I finish work, I'll check that and make sure it isn't actually lying to me. So that's the real-time element. We've now changed from forecasting through to real-time. And I'm hoping everybody knows about this, yes? Yeah. So those are the sources that I would tend to typically use. I'm hoping that none of that comes as a big surprise to anybody.
How accurate do you think the whole fly is?
Oh, very. Yeah, very accurate, yeah. In terms of direction, plus or minus 5 degrees. In terms of strength, it tends to underread by about 10% at the stronger levels. But it's super reliable. It's really good. The one thing I like very much about the whole foy is the trending. Because you can scale it and you can see the trends, and you can actually see if you take it right into the most detailed view, you get a lovely view of the thermic cycles. I also tend to be quite animated about things like gust differential as well, because it relates to comfort in the air for me, and it's great to get gust differential out of whole foy. That's a really good question. That's also one of the reasons why we're hoping to put one at Mia soon as well. It's a good question. Any more questions on that before we move on? Cool.
Yeah, Tim, actually.
Hello.
Yeah. Flybubble have recently upgraded their...
Oh, I was hoping nobody was going to talk about that, because I know nothing about Flybubble. What's it like?
I used to look at it and sort of think, well, you know, it's not for me.
Yeah, me too.
They've upgraded the whole thing.
What do you make of it?
I think it's quite impressive.
Do we know anything about it? Where's the weather coming from, and who's doing it? And
I don't know, but they must be drawing on similar sources to many of these other things.
And have you used it in anger? Have you used it for your real?
I use it to look and sort of see, is it worth getting out of bed today?
And what's your experience in terms of its usefulness?
I think it works.
It would be quite interesting to run a sort of back of a fag packet comparison between those traditional methods that I've just outlined there, plus SkySight, plus the Flybubble one as well, because like I say, I have no experience of the Flybubble one at all. Visually, I think the user interface is really, really nice. I think it's been quite well designed because it feels easy to use. But yes,
It just lights up the sites that it thinks are worth thinking about.
well, SkySight does that as well. You see, yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute. So there are 3. Wow, we've got it all going on tonight, haven't we? Yeah. So there's actually 3 or 4 really big key differences between SkySight and all those data sources that I've just been talking to you about. The first one, can you read that? No, you can't. It's not big enough. This is a screenshot from an interview that was done with the guy who created SkySight. And it says, can you highlight some of the recent updates and enhancements made to the SkySight model? And he says, absolutely. We have 2 pieces of big news to share. Firstly, we've invested enormously in a new supercomputer, which reduces the time to compute from 3 hours to 30 minutes. This has also let us triple the number of forecast updates, and then they also integrate ECMWF, which is the European Weather Forecasting. So I was really surprised to learn this, but it's true. They run their own weather model, and they've got their own supercomputers to do this. Heaven knows how much they're spending on it, but that's a really big deal, because, you know, weather models, in my experience, it's a bit like sort of aircraft carriers. It's the sort of thing that only governments can afford, you know. So they run their own weather model. I don't know if it's composite or a meta or whatever. I haven't had the time to look at it. But that's, in my opinion, a big deal. I didn't realise that until I looked at it. This one is also completely illegible. And it says, this is their second big differentiator. It says, paraglider and hang glider pilots, we haven't forgotten about you. For the last 6 months, we've been working on launch points, and it gives you a red, amber, green. So this is very similar to what I was just saying in Flybubble. So,
Just have a look at it. It's Westbury's not flyable currently.
oh, thank you for confirming that. I don't need to go.
There you go.
Yeah, the sort of 20 millimetres an hour plus darkness might have been an indicator. A tiny bit off to the south, yeah. What about Mia? Can we get down there? Have a pint afterwards?
That's looking good, actually.
Let's go. Anybody got a mini wing? So yeah, the other thing that it does is very similar to the Flybubble. What have they got, like a red or green indicator on there or something? I'll show you in a minute, but on SkySight, each of the flying sites has got a little red, amber, green indicator. And what that means, of course, whereas I've been going to XC Weather and just scrolling through for any particular day and checking, are my local sites in the right direction, it looks like you can basically do exactly the same thing in a really coarse and reliable sense in SkySight. Zoom into the sites where you think you might want to fly, scroll through the days, wait till it goes green. So we'll have a play with that in a minute. And the final one is the notifications. I'm quite blown away by this. I'll show you it in a minute. But it's got a thing called potential flight distance, and it's got point forecasts as well, and it's got competition tasks in there. So you can go to it and say, right, I want to fly this route from here to here. Please tell me when it's going to be flyable, what time of day I need to launch, and it will tell you, and it will work. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous in that respect. Really, when you put all those three things together, what we're seeing is a picture of a tool here which makes me feel that the way I've been doing it up to now is a bit agricultural, because what I've been doing is skimming across loads of disparate sources, none of which are optimized for free flight, none of which are optimized for sailplane flying or paragliding or hang gliding or anything like that. And I've had to use Met theory and Met knowledge to interpolate the data that I'm seeing on there and get a usable picture out of it. Probably the biggest key difference with SkySight is that it was designed by a sailplane pilot for the sailplane community, and then very quickly after it was created, it was extended to include our free-flying community. So it advertises itself as being aimed at us, which is why it feels very, very good for us. It also, in user experience terms, it's a fantastically designed piece of software. So they've put a great deal of effort into making everything look and feel really intuitive for pilots. So you don't have to go and, you don't need to be neurodiverse to understand it.
Have you used that traffic light system on SkySight yet?
Yes, I have actually. I did a rough check a couple of nights ago, and I scrolled through and I thought, I wonder if this is going to work. And I forced myself to check SkySight first. And I went click, no, click, no, click, no. It's not going to be flyable for the next 4 days. It's going to be rubbish. And then I checked my normal sources and they were absolutely in alignment. It's a very... Correct. It was really unambiguous. So...
Do you know if they're adjustable, the parameters within that set those lights as such?
I don't know that, but what I do know is that you can tell it the type of aircraft you're flying. There's a factor in there which tells you, I think, the performance of your aircraft, all the way from sailplanes down to low performance paragliders, and I think that's used in the cross-country calculations.
What we are asking about, is there an option for a speed wings?
I don't know. That's a really good question. But I think...
That's the problem. If Flybubble
I know.
displays you
I
a
know.
red dot. But okay, what does it mean, red dot? 24 miles per hour.
Yeah,
great.
it's
That's
perfect
what
for
we're
you.
looking
Yeah,
for.
that's a really good call. Maybe we should get in touch with the guys.
Maybe.
I mean, if they're anything like Tim B, who runs Pure Track, they'll be super approachable, and we'll get a fast answer out of them. That's a really good one.
Is that the lunatic drop down?
That's the one. Yeah, or the modern wing. So, yes, you have to pay a bit for it, but what you're getting is a system that is actually designed for us by our community, which is pretty shockingly good, actually. So what I was thinking we'd do is maybe step through each of those traditional points that I've been using and find the SkySight equivalents on the right-hand side. Should we see if we can do a bit of that?
Yeah.
So, how's this going to work? So the first one... Yeah, the course indicator one is the point forecast. So let's go in there. Just really, really broadly about the user interface in here. You've got a section down the left-hand side where you're selecting the type of forecast that you're looking at. So you've got SKU-T, point forecast, point windgram, route forecast. You can toggle your airspace on and off. For some reason, it's not seeing D123 at the moment, and I couldn't find out why. You can turn on or off your observations, you can turn on or off your real-time satellite picture, and if there are webcams, it'll turn that on for you as well.
Is it only available in web?
Yes, yeah, but it is mobile optimized. It's pretty good on mobile. Yeah. And then down here, you've got some key sections. So we've got thermals, clouds, wind, and then general. We've got wave, which I tend to not look at. And then for each of the things that you choose, there's a small sort of help box down at the bottom there. So if, for example, I go in here and choose something esoteric like, I don't know, convergence, that then changes to tell me the instructions for it. So the center section here is your map. It's your real-time map. You can zoom in, you can scroll around, you can change the type up in there. I quite like the topo map actually, because you can see what's going on. I think you can change the transparency of it. Typically got some sort of scale down the right hand side, and then across the top we've got two time changing jobbers. You've got your days forward and back, top left, and then once you've selected your day, you can choose your time of that day on the slider, and if you particularly want to, you can hit play and watch it scroll through. So all of those controls are common to the entire user interface. Then you've got some settings in here where you can choose where you are in the world, and you've got things like setting up your wing, your units, and all the sort of stuff you'd expect to see in here. What else was in there? Oh yeah, you've got a nice link to their user manual, which is up to date and it is human readable. It's very good. And there's a tutorial that if I click that, that's going to take me to a YouTube link, which is about an 1.5 hour long video called, I think, the top 3 secrets of SkySight. It's very good. It's a little bit slow paced, but it's very good. I found while I was researching for this about 3 really, really good YouTube videos. They're very detailed. It's all in there. Some of it is strongly aimed at sailplane pilots, but I'd recommend it. I will share this presentation with you afterwards, so you'll have the links to those in there as well.
Is there any free version or a
No.
30-day?
Oh, there's a little trial, isn't there? Has anybody used the trial? Is it a 7-day trial?
Yeah.
But you know what? I was super cautious about this, and it's something like £8 a month or something. And you know, I spend many times more than that on coffee. So, and flying is much more important than coffee.
I tried the free trial and then I thought it was enough to convince me I should probably give it a go, but I thought I'll try it in January when I've got a bit.
Yeah, good call. Good call. So that's the overall user interface. Let's have a look at what I was talking about. I said point forecast, didn't I? So I'm going to go point forecast, and I'm going to deselect the convergence, and I'm going to have something like surface wind instead. So let's zoom into here. Where is Westbury? There's Westbury. It's red. Surprise, surprise. That's today. Still red. And if we go forward, red, 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 red. Oh, hang on. Tuesday the 16th, it thinks it might be flyable. Let's go and compare that to my normal sources. Tuesday the 16th.
Is that only looking at the day, the colours, or is that
That's
specific
21
at
miles
the
an
time?
hour. There you go. That's good.
Boom! It knows you want to fly a Mo. So it's not forecasting precipitation, but if we go back and look at SkySight, it's giving you a bit of green. So that's your point forecast. When you choose your point things like this, like your point SQT, your point forecast, point windgram, you get this little cursor jobber come up, and that's your prompt to then go and click the screen. Let's do it again. There we go. Bank. And when you do that, now we start digging into the real detail. So the picture that comes up is a zoomed in version, and this is really, really dense on information. I'm not going to talk through every tiny bit on here. This is the bit where you need to sit down with your glass of single malt in the evening and just go through it in slow time in terms that it makes sense to you. Basically what it's giving you is a cross-sectional picture of the atmosphere at that time, at their location, with time across the x-axis. And they do things like, for example, using colours up here, colours for the low, medium and high cloud cover that they think represent it. They'll give you pictures, which seems a bit noddy at first, but it's actually super easy to use and super reliable. And then you've got things like soarable height, surface temperature, and then down here. So I know that we're all different. Some people like pictures, some people like numbers. I personally like to have, I find it's not impossible to visualize wind direction by looking at the numbers, but it's just so much easier to look at a wind arrow. So what you can then do is come in here. I've got the wind switched on over here so you can see it. And as we scroll through, we're saying, right, Tuesday, 12:30, let's go to about there. And I can even have it just drive through, and you can see as it steps through, those arrows are reflecting exactly the same numerical information that we've got over here. And you've got pressure on the bottom as well, and you can just scroll through the whole. Simple things like the idea of putting your sunrise and sunset times across the top. Choose your units as well. What do we think?
Yeah. Will it give you, say if you, for that, the point of that launch and stuff,
Yes.
will it give you an indication of, if it says green, does
Yep.
it give you a range of the timeline when it thinks that is green?
That's a really good question.
'Cause that would be really interesting. If it's saying, right, we think it thinks it's flyable from 10 till 3, and that's your window, and everything else is shit.
So, I don't know the fully authoritative answer to that, but I do know two things. One, it's got a forecast for soaring, for purely ridge lift. And two, it's got a forecast where if you're trying to fly a route, it tells you when that route is going to be flyable. So it's differentiating strongly between ridge lift and cross-country potential. If I find the... where is it? There we go, ridge lift. So if we turn that one on and start to scroll through, let's go back to where we are. There we are. So the blue areas, and you've got typical scale here. It starts to show you what the ridge lift is going to be and when.
Is the elevation away from the...
Yes, because it's got a topographical model in it, and as you hover over, it's telling you what the value is going to be in there. But that's purely from a soaring potential, not a cross-country potential.
But is that showing you the area where there's potential ridge lift?
Yeah, it's showing you where it thinks there's going to be lift based on the wind speed and the topography. Areas of prediction is pretty nifty. Yeah, I haven't tested that one out yet, but it looks pretty to my eye. So if we go back to here, we can see we've got a pretty effective substitute for what I'm using XC weather for. The jet stream forecast, I didn't think that was in there. Turns out it is. So let's go into here, and we said, what did I say? Point wind forecast. So point wind gram. Let's choose my favourite flying site again. Point wind gram there. Why are you not showing that? Did I just click the wrong thing?
Yeah, you click point forecast.
Thank you. Point wind gram there. Boom. So now it's showing us a really, really nice composite picture of actually more than wind. Even though I clicked wind, I'm getting a lot more than that. Across the top here, you've got a bunch of stuff that you can have. So that's your vertical scale selector. Overview gives you that picture. Thermal strength, lapse rate, temperature, relative humidity. That's the one I tend to go straight to, the wind speed, because it gives you a nice, clear vertical picture. And then if you want to see what's going on at the jet stream, then choose ground to 30,000 feet in there, and all of a sudden, top of the scale, there's the jet stream. So it's telling me at Westbury, Monday the 15th at 1400, I mean, that's what, 80 knots, something like that. So if I then go and compare that to an actual jet stream picture, what did I say, Monday something?
Monday,
15th.
2 p.m.
Oh, it doesn't go. Oh, yes, it does. There you go. Boom. So it's pretty accurate. Those two sources are certainly agreeing with themselves. And what it means is that basically, I don't need to go to a different place to get a clear view of what the wind speed is right up at the tropopause. It's super convenient. Okay, it looks different, but to my eye, it's really easy because I can see. And then let's say, for example, it isn't hooning, and it's a bit nicer. There we go. That's nice. So I'll say, right, let's come down, change the scale to 10,000 feet, and all of a sudden we can start to see. I particularly like this. You just move the mouse around and it shows you what's going on. So what's that? 1,000 feet? Fine, no problem at all. What do we think? It's pretty groovy, isn't it?
You know what model it's using?
It's using its own model.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's got its own model. It also, you can switch over to the icon model, and it's blending in the ECM, what's it called? ECMW blah thing as well. Yeah. So that's your jet stream forecast. Question?
I just think about if you've told it what type of equipment you're flying, whether it then on that indicator, and obviously it's giving you a range of,
Yes.
of wind.
Yes.
I wonder if it could also give you, like, you know, for your type of equipment that you're flying.
I think it's capable of doing that because you can tell it exactly what type of sailplane you're flying, and I think it adapts all its XC predictions and stuff to the performance of your sailplane. But I don't know. I'd have to check that. I'd be surprised if it doesn't. So the surface pressure forecast that I use, I haven't found an equivalent of that in here. It will show you surface that, but it doesn't particularly show you that synoptic picture. I think, for me, what that means is I'm still going to glimpse at the surface pressure forecast, but I'm very happy to accept that's just a me thing because I like looking at that. Now comes the fun bit. So now we can start to think about cross-country flying. So whereas I would previously use the town and city forecast to get loads of information out of it, all of that is covered in various different sections within SkySight. So the point forecast, thermal strength, height of thermals, blah, blah, blah. Let's go and have a look at those, shall we? What are we doing? Point forecast we've looked at. Let's have a look at thermal strength. Where are you? Here. So if we go point forecast for there. Now, thermal strength is in there. So the plot that you're seeing here is effectively extremely similar to what you were seeing in the town and city forecasts. Thermal strength is there. What else did we want? Height of thermals. It's there. In there. Depth, clouds and wind. It's all there. It's all in exactly the same location. And if you want more details, then come down into here and you've got loads of detail about the clouds. Overview, depth, cloud base, coverage, storms, rain predictions. It's all in there. In the center. Yes.
Does it archive?
Do you mean can you scroll backwards through it?
Or can you go back to previous days and look at data?
Apparently so.
Wow. Can you look at Monday?
That's interesting.
What day was Monday?
Look at Monday.
8th, I think.
Is it really September already?
There you go. Monday.
What time do you want?
Which?
Well,
A time
Phil White Horse.
Where am I? I'm over here. Here we go.
yeah, here.
It was flyable apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other data would you like?
Was the cafe open?
Honey Street Cafe.
I've missed that day.
So it looks like it's beautifully on the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's it giving for thermal strength that day? Only data.
So the increasing stipple for how broken the thermals are, which is a buoyancy shear. Now, I'm not particularly confident with this bit yet, but I really like the idea, something like buoyancy shear, which would have been one of those sort of esoteric factors on a RASP that you have to basically be a PhD in Met to understand. They just make it a picture here, which makes it easy to understand. So what we're looking to, and somewhat broken but not hideous. Does that?
Say again, that stipple at the moment, that's indicating broken thermals?
Correct.
That's quite good section data.
Do you think it's accurate based on what you saw?
Yeah.
Nice.
I think colloquially we would have called it a squiffy day.
In what respect?
Yeah, like broken thermals.
They're a bit fraggy.
Yeah, like little bits of
Interesting. What do you reckon cloud base was and top of thermals?
Well, later it was, for Alex and Steve, it got up to Peterborough way.
What sort of time?
It was 7,000 feet.
Well,
About
actually,
4
why don't we have some fun here? This is a bit of a digression, but tell me their task again. Where did they start? Milk Hill.
Milk Hill, and then
To where?
To select Peterborough way or Kings Lynn.
Somebody help me find that, please.
Up a bit. Keep going. Up.
southwesterly.
Yeah, no, up a bit, left a bit, left a bit,
Touch left.
there, back there, down a bit.
There.
Yeah, somewhere there. That's good. That's Peterborough, isn't it?
Right. There's the.
Kingsland's
There's the forecast for that route,
Yeah.
and what it's telling us is that the time at which they should have launched optimally was 12, and they would have completed it in 4 hours.
It was working at 11.
That's quite good. So thermal tops over £7,500.
Yeah,
that's
that's
quite
what they
truthful.
got £7,000. I think.
Yeah,
Steve
that's
had
very
seven-
accurate.
£7,000 later.
I didn't realise you could go backwards like that. That's super cool.
You're
that is
a
cool.
salesman, Tim. you sold about 15.
Yeah.
I mean, a minute ago I said there's a handful of really compelling features in SkySight that I haven't had before. This just blows me away. I just really wish I was a good enough pilot to use it. It's just,
All you have to do is divorce.
I know. It's a balance between flying and. But I mean, this is such a clear picture, and all the data are there. The red is the terrain heights.
There is a star rating in SkySight.
Correct. Yeah, then we can find that quite easily. But of course, if you talk to somebody like Ali Andrews, he will tell you don't use StarSight because it's really, really limited. It only takes 2 or 3 factors into account. It's not optimized for paraglider pilots. And when you compare the structure of star rating to this, it's chalk and cheese. But it's also, of course, it's what you...
Let's see the star rating anyway.
I'm not going to show it to you because it's rubbish. No, I'm joking.
Anyway, we decide to go out, mate.
Yeah, but it's not going out.
We don't look at surface pressure. Sorry.
Well, this is what Cass does. I mean, he's always, if it's not raining, I'll go to the hill and wait for the sky to clear and fly. Tick. That's why he flies 100 times more than I do.
You said Ali's the one that got you into this.
Yeah. Where's my star rating gone?
It was just above higher
Thank you.
here.
There we go. That's all you're getting, mate. No, I'm joking.
How many stars is that?
But that's 4 p.m.
Like 1.
Switch it
Yeah.
to
What
1
sort of
p.m.
time did you say? Midday-ish.
Yeah, go back.
It's like 2.5 stars.
Yeah.
So that route forecast, in my opinion, is just incredible. You know, the ability to do that, it's just insane, and it will tell you what time to start it and finish it.
So the colours on that journey, does that indicate where the key lift bands are? Or
Correct.
thermics or
Correct. Yeah. So let's. Any more questions about that? What do we think?
How does that work with time then? Because it's obviously taking a slice of a distance.
Yeah. So let's do what they did again. What you said Milk Hill, didn't you?
Milk Hill up to Kings Lynn
Milk Hill.
from 11 o'clock
Oh, hang
in
on.
the morning.
Route forecast. Where have you gone? Where have you gone? Milk Hill. Up to somewhere near Peterborough. Oh, where have you gone?
Yeah,
Who
absolutely.
moved to Peterborough?
Just there, that'll do.
Yeah, I'll do.
About that.
Yeah.
176k. And what it's doing here, the white section is what it's recommending in terms of the times. It's saying if you launch at 11, you'll land at 17:26 for an average speed of 26 kilometers an hour. Likewise, if you launch at 11:30, you land then for an average of
Wow, they
26.
did 200 kilometres in just over 4.5 hours.
And it may well, I don't know, but I would guess that the difference in speed is because I've put a pretty crappy glider in here and they're on faster gliders.
It's a UK downwind, so it doesn't really make a lot of difference.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think,
So do you reckon that's accurate or not?
no, I think that's way too slow. You fly it at 40, on that day, 40.
Well, let's have some fun, shall we? Let's see if I can change it.
I guess it depends on the parameters you set as well. Doesn't it?
So if I say, right, let's go up here somewhere. Imagine if I was that good, eh? Yeah, yeah. God, I saw some of their videos, and they're doing like 2,000 kilometre flights in a sailplane. It's just mind blowing what they do. So let's try that again. Where were we?
In the middle.
There, yeah. Oh, I've clicked the wrong thing. Route forecasts. Milk Hill. Up to Peterborough. Up here somewhere.
It's still in the best air, isn't it?
And there we go. It has actually increased the speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So it looks like you can control it. And what would be really interesting would be to get Alex's track log and see in the configuration of the aircraft in here, given that we have got the metadata for the actual metadata from that day, it would be very interesting to see what factor we need to achieve that. And if you keep putting real data in there, that's going to be ridiculously accurate.
And those big spikes in thermic activity, was that reflective of their journey?
I don't know. If you want to really geek out, you can go into XC League and get their track log and start looking at it minute by minute.
I think I was just looking it up, but I think 22nd of August was the day that we had really severe strong thermals and dust levels at Westbury. And it would be really interesting just to see like what the predicted thermal strength was that day, because it quietened down quite late in the afternoon. But that was the day Steve Harris had a dust level very close to him.
Was it thermal strength where we had that? Do you remember what time of day it was?
It would have been 3 o'clock maybe. Maybe a little bit earlier.
So it's telling us, if you say 3 p.m, which should be really sort of peak thermal activity, it's telling us 2.5 meters a second.
I suspect clearly these models can't pick out individual dust levels.
No,
No.
I'm just wondering whether on trend.
They're only going to give you an average.
Average, yeah.
And so even on that day, the average was probably only about 2 meters per second or something.
And that's what it's saying here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
interesting.
you know,
Because do you remember the day at Milk, it was a few weeks before that, where Tim Ventry got like a 7 metre per second sustained climb
Mm.
at Milk Hill.
right.
I wonder whether that's predictable.
Yeah.
So that was the day I was flying too. Yeah, there was 7 meters.
Yeah.
15th of August was the same.
Yeah.
Was it 15th?
15th was the same from Longwind.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I bet you can go back that far.
Yeah.
I didn't realise it did that until 10 minutes ago.
For the day.
You can do it on RASP. You can look at the data for particular days.
That's incredible.
Archive on it. Yeah.
So what we're seeing there is that between a handful of the tools within SkySight there, it feels like we've got an incredibly detailed, well, I was going to say forecast, but forward and backwards view of every single part of the picture that we need.
Does it predict wave?
Yes, very much so.
Oh, good.
Very much so. You're not a hang glider pilot by any chance, are you?
Yes. Yeah. I would speculate that.
Yeah.
Probably experience a bit more.
Open declaration. I haven't even looked at the wave bit yet, because as soon as I see the word wave, I get scared. So I didn't even look at that yet. Apparently it's brilliant for that. And if you look at their videos and their resources, you can see overlays where it takes sailplane pilots to track along the wave areas, and they do big flights that way. It's mad.
Tim,
Hello.
One thing, you know, when we had Windy up, I was saying comparing the models is important because if you look at 6 different models and you look at their forecast cloud predictions, you will normally get 6 different
Correct.
screens or different takes on it. If they all tell you the same thing, it's great. The problem you have with any of these, whether it's RASP or SkySight, if their cloud cover model is wrong, then it doesn't matter what that they say
Correct.
it's going to be brilliant.
Correct.
It won't be.
Yeah.
So what I tend to do is I don't believe what that tells me unless I get some.
And I think we all do that to a certain extent,
that
don't we?
Various models are going to tell me something consistent.
Yeah.
So
Because everybody gets to know their usual sources, and you mentally calibrate to what you're seeing against.
Yeah, we do have a lot of discussion, don't we, comparing this with RAS?
We do, yeah.
A lot. And that's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
So we're in a small Telegram group of cross-country pilots, and a few people in that group are very good at SkySight.
Oh, cool.
And there's a few of us who have been using RAS for the last 20 years.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we're tending to compare.
And what sort of conclusions are you getting out of that?
Okay, so if I'm a big RAS fan, but I have played with SkySight, and I accept that it could be as good, if not better.
Yeah.
So let's say, how many times have I gone out on a RAS forecast for cross country, and RAS has got it wrong this year? So let's say I've done 40 cross country days this year, good days. I would say RASP has got it wrong on maybe 6 or 7 of those. The other days have been pretty damn good, I'd say.
So that's what, about
I see
30% or something error rate?
I see that as quite a good success rate.
Yeah, yeah.
I know a couple of those days, the SkySight gurus said it's not going to be good because there's going to be top cover, and that was exactly how those days.
So
panned
does
out.
that imply that the SkySight is looking like it's more reliable?
On those particular
Right,
days?
right.
Yes.
That's
So-
really interesting.
So I think if you had, so I tend to think if Windy's telling me a consistent story on wind strength and cloud cover, RASP is giving a good forecast, and if I was using SkySight, that gives a good consistent story.
Yeah.
Then you're pretty sure. Well, what else are you going to base it on?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So between those things we just looked at, it's an incredible picture of the cross-country potential. Let's have a look at the sounding now. Whereas I've been using that tiny little one, and sometimes I'll use the RASP sounding as well. Where are you? So we've got point skew T. Let's go and find a position where we're going to do it. Let's say, for example, here. Are you going to play? There. The skew T, I thought you liked me. Hang on, come, let's do this again. Bink. The skew T in here is just mad. When I started looking at this, it made me realise that I'd just been wasting my time trying to understand how a skew T works when I could have just looked at this one. It's got a picture of the clouds. It tells you where the cloud tops are going to be. It tells you where the cloud base is going to be. This is really easy to read. It's just ridiculously good. It's got the LCL marked really clearly. And of course it changes as the time goes by. So, and again, if you can't be bothered to look at the wind cross section, then you've got your jet stream up here as well. So you've got your 40,000 foot. Can you zoom? I think you can.
The cloud bit's new. I don't remember seeing the clouds.
And this is the other beautiful thing about this, because they're constantly updating it.
Yeah, that's good.
To my eye, this is just an incredible view. It's ridiculously easy to use. Anybody seen it before?
Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it? No doubt there'll be.
Mind you, on days like that, not all the clouds are going to look like that, though.
No, and it's not supposed to
The
be.
occasional one is probably going to look like that.
Yeah, and this is not supposed to be. This is what the cloud is going to look like. This is supposed to be a visual representation of cloud base and tops and
How
depth
high
of
it
cloud.
could go,
Yeah.
Can you give a quick overview of the different coloured lights?
I was hoping you weren't going to say that. Yeah. So on a normal skew T, the green one is your dew point, and the red one is your observed temperature. So if you put a radio sonde up, then that's the line that you would get out, and the area where the two lines are co-located there is cloud, because it's saturated, and the horizontal difference between the two lines is the difference in relative humidity there. So that's your calculated dew point in there.
They got a few videos that explain.
Very much so. Yeah, it's all on the videos. I'm not going to go into that. I mean, we could. I mean, in times gone by, we would have done a whole evening on how to read SKUTs and all the rest of it. It's kind of a waste of time now that this exists.
It's a very user-friendly interface.
It's great, isn't it?
It does look good.
It's really nicely done. I'm pretty shocked by it, actually.
For a low airtime.
Oh, that's the thing. You don't need to.
It's confusing. It's just such a maze at the moment.
And that's the thing. It brings it all into one place because it's designed by free flight people. And the guy who designs it is a software engineer who used to work for Google anyway. So, and I remember when I did military flight training, they put SKUTs up and they said, this is a SKUT, it works like this, don't bother remembering it after exam, it's only the Met men that need to know this anyway. And it's like, well, you know, why are we bothering to learn this when we've got tools that do the interpretation for us?
And the good thing is, it's all visual.
That's the thing, that's the beauty of it. It's a really nice presentation.
What about time of day? Like RASP comes out at a particular time.
Oh, I don't know that. I don't know, but it's got a picture down here.
After say,
I don't know.
this is the time of day I would like to.
Yeah, I should have checked that. Sorry, I didn't check that. No doubt it's going to be in one of their videos or details of their model or something. But you would have thought it's going to be.
Just slide the top time bar across and that alters. Yeah, it updates in the flight, doesn't it? Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
It's just mad.
How many users do they have?
A lot. A lot. It's really. It's doing very well.
To stay, it looks like they're fine.
Oh yeah, if you look at their website, they've got a full team on it now.
Yeah, I suppose, I wonder whether, is there a refresh time?
I don't know. I need to check that. I would have thought it's at least once a day because most of the main models run what, once in the morning, once in the evening, or something, don't they?
Rasp's got a couple of times, hasn't it?
Yeah, they
very often see a message from you
That's
to
like
say I'm waiting
2 hours.
Well,
refresh.
they
It's
run
constantly
they run different resolution models at different times.
Mm.
So they run a 2 kilometers grid.
Yeah.
They run 4
Yeah, yeah.
kilometer grid, and the 4 kilometers will run after the 2 kilometer.
Okay.
So they run at least 3 or 4 runs.
So it's worth checking how the SkySight works because I know that for the XC hounds that's quite an important thing to know that you've got the correct data
Well,
in
if
there.
you remember earlier on, there was that thing that said it was going to run in 30 minutes.
There you go. So it's
theoretically,
potentially doing it pretty frequently, yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to know what it's running in 30 minutes, to be quite honest.
I can't understand how they're able to do it.
I
Maybe it's cloud computing.
honestly do not understand that.
No.
These models are,
Well, you need a proper supercomputer to do it.
yeah, even Met Office.
So
Can run it in
Well, there's
30
two things
minutes.
going on, isn't there? So you have the line weather forecast and there's the bit that
the observations,
Rasp does.
yeah.
I suspect they're doing the last bit in half an hour.
So we've got a few more interesting bits here. Where I've been using TAFs and METARs, it's got a thing called observations. So let's go and have a look at that. If I can remember where they are. Observations. Let's go. Where should we be? Let's be down here somewhere. Is that now? Yeah, that's now. Now I think. Are you going to play? Are you going to play? There we go. Why are you not showing me observations? It was oh, hang on. What's this? Ooh, lightning. Nice. Why am I not seeing observations? It did this the other day. Do that. Do that. There we go. So that's the typical view that you'll get for observations. And you kind of don't need to learn how to read TAFs and METARs anymore because it's all straight on your screen.
AI says that SkySight refreshes every 6 to 7 hours.
Wow, nice. So
So
that's
on the days at the top, how far ahead can you go?
5 days, I believe.
5 days,
Yeah,
is it?
yeah. You see, there's one number I do know.
Yeah. Okay.
So again, we don't need to read TAFs. Now there's 3 things. Oh yeah, it doesn't. You know, on Windy, it's got a nice feed for all the real-time weather stations. So if you go to, you can actually see what the West ones do. I haven't found that on SkySight yet. I don't think it's in there. But there are 3 big features which have just been absent. I haven't had them before. One is the route forecast. So let's quickly dip back at that. So we'll go route forecast. and let's say, for example, I want to fly from. Where am I? I can't see anything. Hang on, let me change this to something easy like. Surface wind, then it's an easier picture, right? So let's say I want to fly from Westbury, and I'm gonna go down here and then go whizzing off down towards the coast. It's now, this is the one we were looking at before, so it's looking pretty unachievable, and it'll tell you if you can't do it on that time.
That's completely impossible.
Exactly. And it's pretty reliable. So that's the route forecasts. And my favourite thing in here is you can go in, if you've put a route in there, for some reason it's not showing on my interface, but once you've put a route in there, you get that little box come up and say, do you want to set a notification for this? And it will then warn you when it will send you an email when it's going to be flyable. The other big one is potential flight distance. Wrong one. There we go.
And that route's not exportable, is it?
I believe it is. Let me go back to this. If we do something like that, tick. Any questions? That's just mad, isn't it? It's all those little, oh, wouldn't it be great if, oh, you've got it. That's you scan it with your XC track or your Fly Sky High, and then your task is instantly in there.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. It's just mad. So what will we say?
How did you export it? What did you
Yeah,
do?
so you go route forecast, plot your route. Come on, I thought we could be friends. Let's try that again. Boom. Route forecast. Plot your route. Route forecast. Thank you. Dink. Dink. And there.
Ah, here it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. And the other thing I was just talking about was, what was it again?
So if you download the route, does it also give you all that information?
No, it's literally just a route
Just
in there.
Just the waypoints.
Does it warn you of airspace?
No, it's a complete separate thing. Although this has got airspace in it.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's relying on you having current airspace in your instrument of choice.
Yeah.
Potential flight distance, that's what I was going to look at.
I mean, it's worth saying that I'm not sure people use this to think about which hill to go to and where to fly. But I mean, most people will plan the route in FlyXC, and then because if you're setting flight to goal, you want to make sure that where you set your goal isn't in a stupid place like in over town or somewhere.
But you can do exactly that in here.
Exactly that here.
You can do it here, can you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
got your topo. You got your airspace and everything as well.
Can you do aerial maps? Satellite.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can do it all in here.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That looks alright.
Makes it
Yeah,
easier.
it's
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Right, potential flight distance is a fun one. So I don't think this is going to show me very much, but basically what it's doing is, and we haven't got very many flyable days coming up. Dink, dink, dink.
Tim, go back to Monday, Mill Hill White Horse, and see how far you could
There we go.
potentially fly
Right.
on Monday.
So that is giving you a distance scale down that side, and in here it's showing you how far you could potentially fly.
So how far could you fly on Monday?
From Milk Hill,
Yeah.
where are we? Here. You said about an 11 launch, did you not?
Yeah, 11 o'clock.
So it's telling me at least 150k.
Yeah, and they did just over 200.
Yeah.
Some people did just over 200.
Yeah.
Not everyone.
And in here, you can tell it, please tell me when I'm going to be able to fly more than X kilometres from this particular place.
That's really good.
It's
Can
ridiculous.
I email my boss?
Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it?
Holiday request booking.
If I can integrate it with the HR system and if it tells my boss that I'm sick on that day.
You can't just take it off and
So I take it with that IGC upload button, you can stick your track or go to the top of
Correct.
Cambodia.
Yeah, correct.
Cambodia was Alex Cole.
Yeah.
It would be that
In the
simple.
XCP.
Does this also make good coffee? Or?
Yeah. Then you've got XC speed as well. So if you put put that layer on, you can see what your average speed is going to be. There's one other thing I was hoping to show you if I can get this right. If we do a route forecast, let's do something like this. There we go. So
Drifting.
yeah, I've put in a couple of a from and a to, but the black line that it's putting in there is the optimal route. And what's interesting is if you go to the Alps, in fact we can probably have a go at that. Should we pretend that we're in Annecy or somewhere like that?
Yeah.
So let's see if we can do the Tour de Lac. So we'll go what's route forecast, and we'll go boom, boom, boom. I want to go over maybe here, see if we can get back. Is it going to allow us to do it? No. Let's try.
Maybe do the petty.
There we go. What you say?
I was joking. Do the petty tour.
Yeah. There you go. And that's showing you the line that you're most likely to fly if you want to achieve that. So when we were at the
How do you know you can achieve that? What does it indicate?
because it's joined it up, and because you can see by going across here, you've got all the way along it, you've got thermals. If you had a gap, then you wouldn't be able to join it up. And because you've got options appearing over here, and it's giving you predicted times and speeds, it is saying it's achievable. If it wasn't achievable, it would say route's impossible.
That's really good.
It's madness.
So on flatlands, is that accounting for meteo wind on the day?
I believe so, yes. Yeah. So in practical terms, what Ali was doing when we were at the UCAF champs is, before I've even given the Met brief, he's already looked at SkySight, and he would say, right, we're going to go to that site and we're going to fly that task there. And he didn't even look at it. He would just go into SkySight and say, where's it going to be flyable? What's the optimal task launching at that time? And we did it. We just flew the task.
So if you got like a...
Or at least the good pilots did. I bombed out.
If we say you were doing a collision and gave you like, what is it, the IGC car?
Yeah.
Could you then load that into this?
Yeah, this can display your tracks as well.
So you can load them in and
Correct.
then display
Yeah.
it.
So we could actually get Alex's track from that day, chuck it in here, and do a retrospective analysis. Be mad, wouldn't it?
Tim, can you put on what's called skyways? So if you go,
Yeah,
you know, you
I
can
do.
put in quite a few.
I do.
Like,
I
flights.
don't
So
think.
it's everyone who's downloaded like
It's near that aerospace.
they overlay it so you can see the heat map of where people
For
actually
some
fly.
reason it doesn't show it.
So you can fly in the Alps. You can see all the routes. So you would be taking
Yeah. So what it does have in here.
Was to Beacon.
yeah.
So this one doesn't have the skyways on
But it
here.
should have it.
I'm
It
sure it
might
will
have.
be on there eventually.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Because-
The one thing it does have, which is similar to that, is this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different thing, but it's taking from this website here.
Yeah, it's the same source.
Yeah, it's showing you where the thermals
There's
are.
hotspots.
Two sets of data. It's thermal hotspots and
Yeah.
skyways.
Yeah.
The same way.
It's related. It's similar stuff.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Okay.
That's very cool. Have you ever heard of Flybot?
I haven't actually.
Some guy in the Peak District it's not raining at the moment, but
Mm.
essentially he took all the data from people's flying
Mm.
and then put it into a machine learning
Ah, nice,
and
nice,
then do forecasts saying predicted
nice,
what hours any stop is going to work.
nice. Does it work?
They publish it every day because it's a kind of amateur thing.
So, what we've seen then is that for all of my traditional sources, there is a SkySight equivalent. Almost all of them are better and much easier to use, and you don't actually have to be really autistic to be able to understand it. And then we've got 3 or 4, I think, really, really big punchy features in there that help us in terms of these route forecasts and things. And just to my eye, the visual representation of this is just incredible. What do we think?
Great.
That looks great.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
On Christmas.
Yeah. I'm gonna stop the recording there. I have no clue if this recording's actually worked, but we'll have a look.
What would it take for you to stop checking other sources?
Well, that's a very good question, actually. That is a very good question.